Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. It's from a guy, he is 60 years old, he is from Canada, and he's going to share his story of how literally he went from being the most pee-whipped, blue-pilled, nice guy who was completely walked over by his wife, and not to mention cheated on and treated horribly, to a boss overnight. I kid you not. This is one of the best comeback stories I've heard in a long time for a guy that you definitely are going to want to slap, who makes all the classic mistakes that so many guys do, but good Lord, does he get his man card back, and he puts his wife in her place, and definitely karma comes back to bite her. And he is doing great nowadays. And that'd be a great one to go over here, guys, for all you guys out there that maybe are in bad relationships right now, or know darn well you could definitely up your game, if you will. If you know darn well there's that strong masculine guy in you deep down that's dying to come out, this is an example of that. This goes to show you can make a lot of mistakes and be that guy that you want to smack and that people want to smack, and can turn things around. Really, really good one here. And it's a long one, as you can clearly see, but it's worth your time. So I'm going to cut to the chase and get right into it. He says here, hi SSM. I'm a 60-year-old guy who recently retired. I stumbled across your channel by accident and impressed by the great content and advice that you are providing men in the current environment. Well, bro, I appreciate that. Not only do I find it helpful, but I have referred a couple of my bros that are having relationship issues to your channel, and it has been a game changer for them. Thank you very much for recommending me to your friends. Guys, all you guys that send me to your friends and the family that wouldn't hate me, I really appreciate it. I do hope I can help them. I'm sharing my story in case it is helpful. It happened roughly 20 years ago, and I think you're going to smack me silly. You can count on that, sir. How I wish your content had been available at that time. I'll go back to before that when I was 22 and met my ex, who was 18 at the time. We lived in a different country. I was completing my compulsory military service, and I met my ex at a party. She was the most beautiful and attractive woman I've ever seen. And that's where things all go downhill, because the light is shining down from heaven and fireworks are going off and like a movie, and already he's mesmerized by her beauty, and you're going to see what happens. We instantly connected, we exchanged details, and started dating. Our values were aligned and we enjoyed the same things. You sure about that? I got a job in the IT security field while she started college studying to become a teacher. Things were great between us. Our intimacy was frequent and amazing. I felt we truly loved each other and that we were soulmates. She was wanting to get married, but I suggested we wait to make sure we got to know each other as well, and she agreed. Alright, so far so good in the beginning, as these things usually go. But usually as time goes on, the guy starts getting a little pee-whipped, then more pee-whipped, then more pee-whipped, and she's on the pedestal, and he's kissing her butt and being the yes man, and then she starts losing respect for him, and down the drain we go. And, well, watch this. Due to her parents having financial issues, red flag right there, they had to sell their home and could not afford to assist her with her college fees. We decided to get married. Smack! Too young, dude, too young. And we, are you sure about that we part, or was that her? Because rewind to the parents having financial issues, you become a we and get married, and all of a sudden you, the good man that you are and were, can help with mom and dad. And I took over the responsibilities for her college and other expenses. In addition, I provided some support to her parents. I was 24 and she was 20 at the time. Too freaking young. Her parents, if you were in your 20s, I'm assuming they were no later than their 50s, how come they couldn't do something? Anything. Find a way to take care of themselves. That's too much for you to have to deal with. And your wife, frankly. I had to work extended hours to cover all the new expenses. Smack! That's honorable that you're doing that for her and her parents, but already you're taking on a whole lot for them to make them happy. And I get you want to be a good man, good son, good son-in-law, good husband, the honorable thing, but already you're putting yourself through some hardships. I'm sure you weren't getting a lot of sleep for other people, and other people take advantage. There's a balance, guys. If you're giving, they got to be given too. I was madly in love with her and thought that nothing of taking on these extra responsibilities. Yeah. Problem is, when guys start putting themselves through hardships and doing all this to make them happy, sadly, that kindness is mistaken for weakness, and that's when not all, but a lot of women start losing respect for the guy. Then they start becoming more demanding and more bullshit, and you all know the drill. After she completed her college, she got a job as a teacher, and I got some relief with the expenses. Things were great between us. Our SEX was intense and exciting. Well, at least you were still getting it on. I'll give you that. She better be freaking hooking up with you left and right and giving you what you want in the bedroom if you're working to help pay her parents' bills. I was feeling very comfortable with her. She convinced me that we should have a child. When I was 29 years old, I became a father of my first son. Okay, 29, that's doable. Although I was hesitant about having children at first, when my son was born, I was extremely happy and involved. Our second son arrived when I was 33. I love being a father, and my beautiful wife was still my one and only. Although I worked extremely hard and long hours, I always made time for our relationship. You are the model husband and father. Problem is that she is a model a-hole, and you'll see what she does, guys. My wife was very eager to immigrate to Canada as some of her friends had made the move. With our young family and having to reestablish ourselves, this thought was daunting. Nonetheless, my wife really wanted this, and I finally agreed. Thinking back, whatever my wife wanted, I gave to her. Smack! No, you can't do that. You guys got to be on the same page. You know, you're a giver, and obviously she's a taker. And what about what you want, right? But this is the problem so many guys get into. Give, and you know what happens. If she's giving and loyal and loving and supportive of all that, then okay. But it can't be all, yes, dear, yes, dear, yes, dear. That'll make a guy lose respect for you. And doesn't respect you, doesn't love you. And in some cases, or many sadly, they treat you like dog shit. We hammered through the immigration process and landed in Canada 24 years ago. I started from the bottom of my career, finally landing a job again in IT security. My wife decided to work in the home. I supported her decision, although this put enormous strain and responsibility on me. When you say work in the home, do you mean just being a housewife? That's not fair to you. You picked up and left your country to come to Canada for her. So I think she should be working, helping with the bills, so you don't have to do all this extra work. You should never have allowed that. And honestly, you shouldn't have moved to Canada if you didn't want to. I was working long hours, including weekends. I missed spending time with my sons and my wife, but I consoled myself thinking that this was all for my family. My wife wanted to move to a house from our apartment. This put further financial strain on our household, but we managed to pull it off. I'd asked my wife if she was able to get a job and help on our financial front. You shouldn't be asking her to do it. You should be saying, you need to do this. You want to move to a house? Okay, but I need help. This can't be all on me. That's what should have been done. This started a huge fight, resulting in her bursting into tears, shocker, and saying her husband does not support her. Okay, drama queen, but she's doing this because she knows you'll cave. I gave in, smack, thank you for proving my point, and used all our savings for a down payment on a home that she liked and got commitment from a job for additional work hours. This is when things are really going downhill. You can see guys right here, and you can predict where things are going to go. It's all about her. And by he obliging, she's like, oh, what else can I get away with? I'm losing respect for this guy. Now I'll pull more bullshit. Over this period, I was exhausted and missed spending time with my family and wife. I was not as in shape as I was in the past. Our intimacy had dropped to once every 2 weeks or less. Remember earlier when they were effing like Catholic rabbits? And now all of a sudden, once every 2 weeks or so? Remember, after a while, if she's being an a-hole and demanding and treating you like crap, and the SCX is slowing down, it's only a matter of time before she's getting to someplace else. My wife wanted to take a trip back to our home country to visit her family and take our sons back to see their grandparents. I told her we could not afford this and that we should probably wait 1 year. She suggested I continue working and that she goes with our sons. Oh, how convenient for her. That way it'd be cheaper, and I could continue with the extended hours. She promised that she would make it up to me and that we were strong in our relationship. And that is what good husbands do. Does she sound like a wife that cares at all that her husband's busting his butt, working all this overtime and all that? Doesn't sound like it to me. Sounds like she's a selfish a-hole. After all, there was plenty of time for us to take vacations when things got better financially. You mean when you worked more? She needs to get off her ass and get a fucking job. While she was away, I joined a gym and started working out daily. Good for you. I met a bro who was in the Canadian military. We got on well and became gym buddies and hung out occasionally to have a beer and a burger while catching a hockey game. I will call him B. SSM, he passed away of cancer a few years ago. He reminds me of you. Well, thinking about B. I'm glad you met B. And by the way, B, who's code name for his friend, definitely helps this dude as we get on with the story here. I picked her up from the airport when she returned. I hugged her and she kind of pulled away. Pay attention to what people do, their actions. I remember so clearly that Sunday morning all those years ago. I started initiating the SEX with my wife and she was totally not interested and said she was tired and she had never done this before. I'm sure you guys can see where this is going. After that point, our SEX life stopped. I asked her what was wrong and what can we do to improve things. You don't ask her that question. You as the man lead things in the right direction. And guess what? If you're busting your ass doing all this overtime, everything for her, and you, at the very least she can't fulfill your needs, there's a problem here. And remember, guys, when women think that no matter what they do or what they say, you're not going anywhere, they got you. And her actions tell me she thinks this guy will do whatever she says, whatever she wants, because all she has to do is cry or throw a fucking tantrum, and now he's not getting any. A guy with value, a guy with options to say pretty much, look, things are going to change, and if I'm not getting any, well, then maybe we need to talk about a divorce. Because why am I married here? We're just roommates. You know, this guy's not there yet. She was not interested and said the SEX was just not for her anymore. Although she still loved me, I was trying to figure this out. I decided I would try to be a better husband, thinking she would come around. Smack! So in other words, if I just am even nicer to her, even more accommodating, sacrificing all my joy and happiness and my wants and needs, if I'm just nice enough, then she'll basically suck my you-know-what. Who thinks like that? Nice guys. You think your typical bad boy would behave in this way? No. And who do they chase after and want to F brains out? The bad boys. He says, my God, SSM, in hindsight, how stupid could I be? Yeah, but you know what? Plenty of guys, in fact, the majority of guys would behave like that in one form or another. My gut was telling me something was off, but I trusted her. Always trust your gut, guys. My wife also informed that my father-in-law was not doing too well, and she wanted to return to our home country again in 6 months. She would again take our sons to be with their grandparents. Like a good husband, I agreed. At that time, it was not unusual that email accounts were shared. My wife and I shared an email account. My wife used this email account mostly, and occasionally I used the account. I needed to send an email one day to a family member back in our home country and could not log into the email account. I thought I had not remembered our password correctly. That night, I asked my wife for the password. She hesitated and said she had changed it and would give it to me on the weekend, 2 days away. Who the hell takes somebody 2 days to give you the password so you can send a quick email to mom and dad back home? She obviously has to hide some things. And by the way, remember this guy said his job was IT security? Watch this. And after all, according to her, my email was not urgent. I asked her, why not give it to me now? She was fumbling with her words and said there are some things she needs to clean up and would give me the password on the weekend. You're going to give it to me right now. I woke up early hours in the morning, around 1 o'clock, and my wife was not next to me. I went downstairs and saw her typing furiously on our PC. My gut was putting one and one together, but my heart wanted to believe all is okay. Yeah, nobody wants to think that the gal they love, the wife, the mother of their children, is engaging in all sorts of shady activities. Nobody wants to think that. I went to work the next day. There was a feeling of distress in me. I could not take it. I locked myself in an office together with a personal computer and internet access. I was an IT security expert. I knew this stuff. I hacked her account. I found a username as she had set up in a Yahoo Mail. I hacked that account. I hacked his account. I went through all the email for the past 3 months. Slowly that day, agonizing word by word, picture by picture, from the earliest email to the most recent. My world and life was destroyed. Dude, I am so sorry. This is what he gets. This is the thanks he gets for everything he's done for her, right? 24, married her, taking care of her parents. Moved to another country. I still don't get that one. Giving her the houses she wanted, working overtime. She's no longer working. This is the thanks he gets. Sadly, guys, there are women out there that are just complete a-holes and are users and all that. But also combine that with when a man acts weak, or shall I say, the perceived weakness, kindness being mistaken for weakness, this is what can happen. Lots of things he did wrong. He knows this. You know this. Well, this is how you learn. Don't worry, our man, it's going to get worse, and then holy crap, it gets better. I remember looking out the window from the 17th story of the building, holding back the urge to jump. I think the only thing that stopped me was the thought of my sons. No one is worth ending yourself for, guys. Never. My wife had connected with an old boyfriend in our home country that she had at school. They planned to go for dinner together and catch up on the last trip. To cut the story short, they spent 3 weeks hooking up, passing our sons around from relative to relative to be looked after. From what I understand, she did things with him that she never wanted to do with me. I just did a story on my other channel, They Did What Today, about a guy who found out that his girl not only was very active in her sorority that he didn't know about in college, but she engaged in all sorts of dirty, no pun intended, activities as well that never did for him. Right there. With the guys they really want and the guys whose validation they want, they're willing to do pretty much anything and go through anything. But the guys that are wonderful to them, that are loyal and loving and all that, they get the bare minimum or nothing. But he's got all his proof right here. After she returned, she was using the email account to converse with him initially and then opened up another account in Yahoo. They declared their love to each other. She wanted to stay married to me, but would organize a trip back to the home country as often as possible and on my dime. And they would continue their relationship. She told him, and this is terrible, guys, she told him that I am so dumb and in love with her that I would not suspect anything. What a bitch. She told him all I was good for was making money and that I was a useless father. You are a great father and great husband. She is a piece of fucking garbage. She had been sending him money that I gave for her, for the household, and for herself. He told her for the next trip that he was going to get a PlayStation with all the latest games to keep our sons entertained while they hook up. He also got a promise from her that she stops being intimate with me as far as possible, and if she had to, she would not enjoy it. He's taking your money. You're giving her money. You're working, and you're giving her money, and she's giving it to him. Amazing. Stereotype, but amazing. And then he's telling her to have some control over her and to stick at you more. I don't want you hooking up with your husband. And she's more than happy to oblige as long as she can. My darling wife willingly agreed, saying she could not wait for him to be inside her again. They swapped pictures and videos enshrining their infidelity. The last message was from my wife to him saying that she should never use our shared email again and that only use Yahoo account. She confirmed to him that I have no idea what was going on, and she declared triumphantly that she avoided intimacy so far and that it was pretty easy. She also said that she plans for the next trip were coming along well. I downloaded all of this. I says, SSM, that was the hardest day of my life. I was so scared of losing her. Dumb, I know. Scared of losing her? That would have been a blessing. For the next 2 days, I was just numb. I said nothing to her. I skipped gym, and my wife let me know that I was not feeling too good. That weekend, When she gave me the password, which I already knew, I said we need to talk. I sat her down. My whole mindset was, how will I save the relationship? Smack! Save the relationship, my ass. Get rid of her. I told her I knew everything about her relationship with the school friend in the home country. She denied everything. Where we heard that one before. I told her I had proof. She did not know how I got into their email accounts. I showed her one email which I got off our joint account when they had declared their love for each other. I showed this to her. He says, I asked her if she would promise to never meet him again and that we would go to counseling to save our marriage. Oh, for God's sakes. I get you're heartbroken and I get the emotions are taking over and you don't want to have your sons grow up in a broken home and all that, but you can't stay with someone like this. The problem is, guys, they can have a woman that's treating him terrible, and what they focus on is how she was back in the day. It doesn't matter how she was back in the day, how she's treating you right now. The never-ending cheating, mocking you with this guy, letting him tell her to not hook up with you, giving him your hard-earned money. I can go on and all the things you've done for her. Save the relationship, my ass. Good guy like you can start over, take the hit, move on, and your sons will be okay. She said to me that she loves us both. This is her version of love. She also said that it's okay if I have SCX with other women. She was telling me our relationship is stronger than all this and that I should not be controlling, possessive, and so insecure. I remember her telling me that after all, she owns her body and can do what she wants. This is like the open relationship conversation 20-some years ago, back before I started really picking up. Now, that open shit was going on in the fucking 60s and 70s. Hell, the open shit was going back in ancient Rome. But the point is, here we go. She told me that she does not think our relationship can continue if we do not open it up, and that many couples are doing this. I asked, what about the boys if we split up? And she responded, what do I think is so special that I give the boys that any other man cannot? She then finished off commenting to our marriage and asking me to not mess it up. She's telling you not to mess up the marriage. Talk about gaslighting, twisting things around. A total mind F-U-C-K. This was like a dagger going into my heart. She did not care if I was with another woman, and she wanted to continue seeing this guy. SSM, I agreed to this, and she was setting up some counseling for us with her counselor friend, a lady who I later found out was a divorced single mom. Of course. Who's going to then agree with everything she says? I felt broken, and like my heart had been ripped out of me. I consoled myself that at least we were not divorcing. Dude, how much shit do you got to go through to wake up? Guys, remember I told you about his buddy B, the bro from the gym? Well, B is going to come to help pretty soon. You guys are going to like B. For the next week, I gave up the gym as I tried to process all this. She was merrily going along as though nothing was wrong, planning her next trip. She spoke to me in such a condescending way, showing zero empathy for how I felt. Of course, because she has lost all respect for you. Okay? That losing respect had been going like a little bit and more and more and more. And by you agreeing to this and groveling all that was the final. I mean, she's an a-hole. We can all agree here. But it must be understood he was doing things wrong. Because after all, this is a learning channel, guys, along with entertainment. I remember my 7-year-old son coming to me and asking me what is wrong. I told him that I'm just feeling a little down. Do you know what my little guy said, SSM? He said, Dad, why do you let Mom speak to you like that? Holy shit, your 7-year-old son gets it better than you did at the time. At that moment, I so resented that woman having so much control over me. I felt powerless to do anything about it. You, my friend, are what gave her that power. And you also are the one that can take that power back. That Friday night, B pops by and wants to see why I'm missing the gym. I guess he felt that something was not right, so he invites me to his place for a couple of beers. We chat about the Senators, our hockey team, and he asks why I missed the gym. I make a lame excuse. We watch a little television, and he says, forgive him, military guys swear a lot. Bro, what the F is going on? I finally tell him the whole sort of story. He does not say a word the entire time. I did notice him getting redder and redder. He asked some questions for clarification. He then said to me, do you want my input? Expecting a lot of sympathy for my position, I said yes, I would value your input. Watch this. Unexpectedly, he jumps up, he blurts out, "What the fuck is wrong with you? Where is your self-respect? You are literally paying for another man to F your girl." He was so loud and animated that his girlfriend popped her head in and asked if everything was okay. He blurted to her, "Hey, give us some bro time here." He then continued to kick her lazy ass out. "That's my input, bro." Bravo to B. That is exactly, first it's your son saying what your son said about why you let mom talk to you that way. Now you got B telling you what you needed to hear. Thank God you had both them. What you described there makes you think of the scene from The Godfather. Y'all know what I'm talking about in the movie at the wedding? And Johnny Fontaine, his nephew sitting there on... Johnny Fontaine, Don Corleone, Vito Corleone is his godfather. And he's sitting there telling him his troubles. And finally, Don Corleone jumps out of his chair, grabs Johnny Fontaine and says, "You can act like a man!" And smacks him in the face. Right here. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, go watch The Godfather. You'll know what I'm talking about. I was shocked at his reaction. I told him that I need to save this marriage. I cannot imagine a life without her. Smack. You mean a good life? And I don't want to give this boy, the boys, a broken family. He again asked if I want his input. And I responded yes. Again, he stood up animated and he says, "The bad news. First, the relationship is already dead. It died when she decided to F him. You may love her, but she clearly does not love you. So you cannot save it. Stop trying to. Second, he says, you broke the rule, bro. Never be so into a girl that you are not prepared to walk if she disrespects you." B is a man ahead of his time. B, he's like the original RP guy. And what's worse, you have let her know that this is how you feel, so she will use this as leverage to get everything she wants at your expense. And third, the boys are already in a broken family. For their benefit, she's send her packing. Exactly, kicking to the curb. But you know what? This is why guys need guy friends that aren't p-whipped, or a male role model, or somebody that can really help guide them when times are tough. Imagine if you went to another married guy who was just like him. That married guy would tell him the same damn thing. Stay in the marriage. I mean, the married guy would tell him the opposite. To stay in the marriage, he would say. But not this guy. He says here, the good news, there is a way out. Send her packing. No matter what it costs, drown yourself in 3 things. Your boys, your career, and coming to the gym every day, like we used to. I give it 3 months and you'll start to feel better. Guys, you know I tell you all the times, hit the gym, focus on your purpose, your grind, right here. That one conversation changed my life. That is why I love your content, SSM. I went in BP Beta and came out RP Alpha. I silently promised myself that I would never let any person, man or woman, hold such leverage over me and disrespect me so much ever again. I will always be prepared to walk. Yes, you must be that in all relationships, guys. I went home feeling strong and great. I had a bounce in my step. I decided not to confront my wife immediately. I took the boys out for pizza and hot chocolate. My wife protested that it was their bedtime. I told her she's welcome to come, but we are going out. There you go. Exactly. You're not telling me what the fuck to do anymore. I'm taking my boys out for pizza. I had a great evening with my sons, so they could sense something was different. As did my wife. That night, I told my wife we need to talk. Saturday night, and she agreed. Saturday night arrives. I drop my boys off at B's house. I arrive home, and who do I find with my wife? Never would have guessed. My wife's counselor friend. Didn't you tell her we have to talk as in we, as in you and me, not you, me, and your a-hole friend? I tell my wife I would like to have our discussion, and could she please ask her friend to leave? She said her friend is here to help us through the discussion. I told her friend she could sit and listen, but I do not want to be interrupted. Yeah, let's see how long that works. I started talking before I can get the words out of my mouth. Let me say this again. I started talking before I could get the words out of my mouth. My wife's friend stands up and says, "This is how I would like to run the discussion." didn't you just say, sit down, basically shut the fuck up, I talked to my wife? Not words coming out of your mouth, and she's already interrupting you. I interrupted her and told her to get out of my house. If she refuses to leave, I will call the cops. She left. I told my wife the following. He says to his wife, you have cheated and lied to me over the past few months. I have all the evidence, the videos, the pictures, messages, all of it. You've treated me with absolute disrespect over the past few months and have not even had the decency to apologize for your significant betrayal, lies, and deceit. Anyway, there was no apology. Even more, you throw it in my face attempting to get me to pay for another trip so you can go F him once again. You are lazy, have refused to work and assist with income for your family. Assist with income for our family. This marriage is over. In fact, it's been over for a while. I suggest you get a job immediately in the next month, as I will not be paying for your bills anymore. I'm consulting a divorce attorney on Monday to see how we can end this ASAP. Awesome. Got your man card back. I suggest you tell your family of all your bad choices leading up to the end of the marriage. If you do not, or if you misrepresent the situation, I will send them the record that you had of him creating, including the pictures of you being a pornslut. Remember, guys, he had all the proof. He downloaded all the pictures, the videos, and you can guess what she was doing in the pictures and videos. She burst into tears. Oh, poor her. She asked me, is there no way to save this? Save what? I told her there was no way in hell and that I could never trust her again. I consulted an attorney, and to her credit, she got a job and moved out. I'm kind of amazed that it went that smoothly in Canada, of all places. But then again, that was before your pretty boy dictator Justin Trudeau was in charge, I think. She came to visit me to apologize. Too late. I told her I do not need her apologies. The best she can do is leave me alone, and the only contact we should have is to handle the issues with the boys. Very smart. In 3 months, we were divorced, legally separating. It's Canada. We had 50-50 custody for the boys. I kept the house, and I bought her out, and I escaped the alimony payments. How the hell did you get all that done in 3 months? Wow. Money was very tight, but I focused on doing the gym every day, spent as much time with the boys as possible, and worked hard in my career. I did not date for 15 years. A few years later, after we split, the boys chose to live with me full time. That'll tell you everything. You, my friend, got all the respect from your boys back again. That is awesome. You effed up more times than I can count. But you know what? This shows you guys you can get it back. My ex has requested a number of times that I forgive her, and is there any chance that we can get back together? Yeah, sure. I always told her I've forgiven her, but I will never trust her again. She told me that as soon as we split, her school friend dumped her. Yeah, she no longer can give him money. This is the stereotype of the broke bad boy. I progressed from security analyst to director of security, VP of technology, and finally chief investment officer of a major corporation in Canada. Holy shit, man. That is badass. Purpose, guys. Drive, ambition. Making that your whole thing. Look at that. I'm now retired, live in an amazing house. What is strange, SSM, is that I have never ventured into marriage or live in arrangements, but I've never had a shortage of women to date. I'm always very upfront and let them know I'm only looking for some company and some dates, nothing more. And yet, they still keep coming. Thanks for all the good work you do, sincerely. Bro, that is a great story. This goes to show you, gentlemen, for all you guys out there right now, that if you're honest with yourself, you've been that guy, you've been like him in varying degrees in your relationships, this goes to show you, you can change. You can get your shit together. You just have to have the balls to do it. And sometimes it takes that friend to really give you a kick in the ass to make it happen, but it can be done. And this guy, I guarantee, has never gone back to his old ways since. And look how much he's kicking ass in life. And is any surprise that he's women chasing after him left and right? He's up front. No relationships, nothing serious, and yet they still keep coming. Interesting how that works. He chases his purpose, success, moving up in the world, money, whatever, and they chase after him. What do the nice guys do? They chase after the girls and give and give and give, and the gals take and take and take. So guys, so many lessons in the story. You can turn your shit around if you want to. You have to have the balls to do it. Don't be that guy that just gives and gives and gives and kisses a girl's butt and goes through all this discomfort to make her happy, and it's never going to work. The common theme to so many of these stories I do is the guys that the women lose all respect for them because the guys are just these kiss-ass, weak, nice guys. And there's nothing wrong with being good to your girl so long as she reciprocates. Problem is, in these stories, the majority of the time, it doesn't happen, you know? And it's just, and not all women are going to behave like her, but sadly a lot do. So I wish this guy the absolute best, and I appreciate you taking the time to write this long-ass, this is like 10 pages long. Great story, and I appreciate you doing it. I'm so glad you're doing well. And I'm going to assume that your sons are like you, doing well, chasing after their goals and ambitions, and not making the mistakes you made when you were younger. But you know what? Back then, all this went down over 20 years ago. I think YouTube launched in 2004. I could be wrong. So this went on before YouTube, and certainly before a lot of this material was coming about. But you know what? It happened. But this is why I do these videos. This is why I appreciate all you guys sending your stories, because these stories, if young guys will listen, can help them prevent them from making all the mistakes that many of us did all throughout our lives. So I really appreciate you sending this in, and all you guys have taken the time. And I know you never know what I'm going to say. You have a pretty good idea what I'm going to say, but I could be sometimes in a worse mood than I normally am and can be a little harsh. But guys need to hear reality, not have made things too easy. So, but anyhow, great story and a lot to learn from this story. All right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Then what you think about this. Let this guy know what you think. Give this guy a big shout out and congratulations for kicking our ass to the curb and getting his balls back. He showed you guys it can be done. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. I'll catch you next time.